Hi, Christine.
Hello, so great to be with you again today, and hello to everyone watching. This is Judy and I's third episode of What in the World is Going On, speaking about what's up in our lives and what's up in our awareness of the collective fields and of the world, and how we've been navigating that moment of now. So, Judy, what's up for you in your world, your reality?
Well, I just want to acknowledge first off, what a week. It's been a big week, and it's been that way for me. It's been that way also for many of the people that I work one-to-one in sessions with. And what I've noticed overall is there's nowhere to hide. There's just nowhere to hide. It's a lot of things being acknowledged that haven't been acknowledged before. And just gives us a chance to relook at things and maybe start to notice the ways in which we normalized things that are not a contribution, and kind of diving into the layers that come with, like the layers that we put on top of stuff so that we don't necessarily notice them, and maybe some of the how did we do that, or what did we do there, and being able to acknowledge how potent we are. And so there's been a lot of that. So I'm looking forward to that part of our conversation today as well. So how about you, Christine? What's your week kind of been like?
To be honest, I can't even track it in a linear fashion.
Right.
So it's almost been that. It's been a lot of different elements, and I've been present with each of them, but I couldn't, even if I wanted to, string them together in a linear sequence. So that's what I've been noticing, is just more and more coming out of that time reference.
Yes, yes.
Showing up, quote, on time for sessions, the appointments, and what I've chosen to commit to.
Yes.
Other than that, really not having a lot of time reference, and having it be really funny just how that linearity is breaking apart.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's less of a necessity, yes, and more of just something that you can reference if you choose to reference it, because it's all happening.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And just the other thing too is coming out of normal, or anything I've personally normalized or made part
Right.
of my life, or this is typically how I feel. Like all my tracking abilities, I've been loosening those up more and more, and the willingness to really be undefined and
Right.
not know who I am and know at the same time.
Right. Yeah.
Right? So less reference points, less referencing other time, and more just being here,
Being.
being
Yeah.
really engaged. And so that's what I've noticed, just this requirement essentially to be really engaged moment to moment. And what I've been aware of too is how my body will create these pain points if I'm not here. So
Right.
the tendencies to kind of drift off or be a little disconnected, my body's like, hey, you need to be here now. And that's what I'm really noticing. If I'm not here, the world energies come in. When I'm fully present, then I feel
Yes.
my energy, right?
Right.
My transmission, so to speak, or the love that's coming through me, or
Yes.
that. So the extension is what allows my body to have ease. And if I'm not choosing that, then it's almost like I just pull in maybe
Right.
anxiety or
Yeah.
confusion, or this just inability to track or reference anything.
Yeah, that's so cool that you said it that way. I can see that. I've experienced it. Like even when you're describing it, I'm getting these amazing visuals of what you mean. So much of my awareness comes to me. Like sense the energy, and then it translates into an image. And that's often, not always, but often how my awareness like out pictures to me in a way, contextualizes it a little bit. So my mind has something to focus on so that it's not interfering with me. So when you were, describing all that, it was so cool how you could see that. You could see that like literally when you're not home, just whoever is passing by, anybody can just like inhabit that space. Any other vibration can inhabit that space. And that may not be. Then you get home and you're like, oh, damn, who had a party here while I was gone? Like there's cigarette butts and beer cans everywhere. What the hell, right? It feels to me like in my early days of awakening, when I like first came out, it's like I was coming out of this like massive hangover or something, and looking around going, what happened? How did I get here? And like, who made this mess? And, and really it's just our lack of understanding of the degree of attendance that we can have to our life. Like how much in attendance and how aware can we be to what's going on? But when we're not there, when we're distracted by this or that or whatever, and we're not present, hey, it's a free for all, right? Whatever the strongest vibration around at any given moment is, and just kind of sets up camp. And I also noticed something powerful in that visualization. I could relate to it so strongly. When you kind of come back, or when after you're done flitting around, or if you're only even half back into your life, and you then, whatever is taken up, residence in your space, you start wearing it as if it's yours, right? You don't even know that it's not even yours, because you get back home and you're like, oh, look, this place is kind of messy, or, oh, gee, I feel sadness, or, oh, I feel this, or I'm upset about this. And we don't even stop to check and see, is that even mine, or is that just something laying around in the space? Like, do I need to make it mine and wear it and heal it and all that stuff? Or can I just acknowledge, I'm like, oh yeah, there's stuff here, and I can clear that out. Like I'm actually the antidote to that thing. I'm not, when I'm here, that's not. When I'm here, I'm aware of that, but I'm not that. And it's not me, and I'm not that. It's just, I arrive, and then that stuff starts clearing out of the way, because it's not me.
Yeah. And that's the art, is when we do acknowledge that we went somewhere, or we took a break, and we're back, and things don't feel as homey and pretty, and there's anxiety coming on in, or some sort of collective fear of the future coming on in. You're like, whoops, okay, clear it out, direct my energy through, transmit the frequency that I choose to emit here, my energetic vote for how I'd like the world to be, I'll call that through, or my prayer for the world is what energy I transmit to the world. And the more I'm in that flow, the more I'm offering and contributing, the more I get to feel my transmission, versus just my read on the collective, which isn't fun in your personal experience, to be reading collective fields all day. And then it's like, where am I?
Yeah. You feel like all day long you're just serving, because you're fixing this and fixing that and aware of this. And it's like, whoa, did you even get to experience anything beyond just being aware of everyone and everything else? Or did you actually just get to inhabit your space and just be what you truly are? And literally just live your life, instead of sensing everything else going around you and responding to that constantly.
Yeah, and making that shift, because it may be an old practice where we used to take things in and maybe transmute the energies.
Oh, yeah.
And then give out a different vibration. So, or the shaman lives, or whatever that is, where you just kind of suck it all or take it all in, and then allow it to be transmuted, and then you transmit a different frequency. Now we're saying, no, we're not doing that anymore. That our bodies are asking for something different. And the new way is to be more of a transmitter of the frequency you desire to contribute to the collective. So we're not taking anything in. We're just acknowledging it out there. Oh, look, I'm aware of this energy. What energy can I transmit as an offering to that energy?
Yes, instead of literally like take it in and, hey, in the meantime, why don't I just process that through my thyroid, or process that through my liver, or just anywhere else in my body? I think I'll store it in my big toe, and I'll deal with that in a couple years. And I'll call it arthritis. Right? Maybe knees. Knees is a really popular space to store stuff. So knees, low back, that's a great place that we like to tuck things, and then they slow down, and they start to get all like sore or painful on some level, arthritic, and then we just deal with that. And in the meantime, it's like we don't even understand energetically what we just did. It's like we're kind of like energy pack rats. We're just like, oh, I'll just pack that here, I'll pack that there, and you have no clue that you've done that. You just are completely oblivious to the fact that you're that talented at it. It happens just like that. It's so quick.
Yeah, and that piece of the tendency to say blame the body for pain, right? Body, what's up? What's wrong with you? Why are you hold in all these energies? You're burdening your body with this energetic weight. And it's doing its best to just let you know what you're up to, so that you can choose again. And so it is really about acknowledging both the body's ability to heal, right? And be that and transmit those healing frequencies. And so we acknowledge what the body's capable of. We acknowledge what we as a being are capable of. And we really say, okay, how can we be or do this different? So it really does work for us, body, being, in its entirety.
Totally. And with this week's sort of, awareness is like, as things are expanding even more, again, something that I'm noticing, certainly my clients are popping on these things too, is taking our awareness to a whole other place as far as like the sensations that we're feeling. Like there's so much information coming in and through your body at all times. It's like it's just unbelievable, an infinite amount of information coming through it at any time. So gone are the days where we need to at all assume that what we are sensing is us. We are that which is sensing it. We are not that which is being sensed, right? We're here. It's sort of like, I've described that before, maybe in our first chat, episode 1, where we're talking about the dog poop on the sidewalk. And when you see dog poop on the sidewalk, just because you have the capacity to see it, doesn't mean that's what you are. It's the same thing with emotions. Like just because you sense an emotion, it doesn't mean that you are that emotion. Or just because you have a thought or aware of a thought doesn't mean you actually are that thought. So, what else is possible with our awareness? Like, what are we not acknowledging that is sort of under that surface or under that assumption that what we're sensing and feeling, everything is ours? And where do we take that now? Sometimes what I'm finding, certainly on my own journey, nobody ever told me I could do that. So it didn't really occur to me. And not that I need someone's permission to know what I'm capable of, but just even to start asking questions like, what are you capable of that you haven't acknowledged? And you might not get a hardcore answer like, oh, I'm capable of this and this and this. It's not so much like that. It's like once you start just asking the questions, geez, what am I capable of that I've never even acknowledged before? What is happening on a regular basis that I've got this massive, like just a warehouse full of tools of this sensory perception. And I'm using it constantly, but I may be misidentifying what it is that I'm sensing because I'm sensing it and then I'm running it across the filters of the conscious mind to say, what is this? And I'm trying to make it logical. So then I'll say, oh, well, the only conclusion I can come to is that it's mine, or the only conclusion I can come to is that there's something wrong with the body, or the only conclusion I can come to is that it's that person over there that they're to blame for the way I'm feeling or whatever. Where when we come into this other place where we just go like, what do I know, and what am I aware of, and what am I actually already doing with my senses that I haven't even totally acknowledged? And what if it's beyond what I've seen anybody else do before? Like, would I be willing to live in a world like that, where, we start to really live outside any form or structure of thinking that we know what's going on and that we have a very tidy, handsome little answer for the myriad of things that we're capable of that we have barely scratched the surface on. Yeah. Does that make sense to you, the way I'm describing it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
More and more we're coming out of the answers. So even the answers that were our favorite ones that explain so much, those are the ones that aren't going to hold weight any longer.
Right.
Because we're being called out of that point, that stop point, so we can continue to be and receive more and expand and have greater capacity to be aware, to have ease with our awareness, and for our body level to have ease with that much awareness. So we're not just bombarded by it. We can truly go, okay, what is this? What do I do with this?
Yeah. And there comes this really cool time as well where you ask that question so often, you continue asking and asking and asking, and you get to this lovely place where all of a sudden you just are the question. So you're no longer slipping into the assumption that it's yours, because you just keep asking and asking and asking the question, what is this? What is this? And you're not necessarily going to get an immediate cognitive answer, but you're staying in that question all the time. So it helps you go from this way of being that's total polarity, where, well, it's not even really polarity. I guess, because you're assuming it's yours. Like that's a one choice universe. So it's either it's yours or it's not. And that's like, there's only two choices. And the way we tend to operate is that whatever is happening, we just immediately automatically assume that it's ours. So
Yeah.
yeah.
We can get caught in the me or not me. And
Yeah.
sometimes even with that, having a tool like, is this mine? Or an
Yes.
access consciousness tool, who does this belong to? Assisting to become aware when we're just aware and it's not really ours. Sometimes we can get caught in almost wanting to push everything out. Like,
Yeah.
get out. Who does this belong to? Not mine. But we almost resist it.
Right.
And that's also eliminating our capacity to change it and acknowledge it. Instead of going, oh, that's not mine, acknowledge it, return to sender with consciousness attached, or thank you, you've done a great job, and you can go now. So we bring our presence to the energy and then redirect it.
Yeah.
That's so different from resisting it, or it's not
Totally.
mine, or being angry that we're aware.
Right. Thank you, because that, I think that's the gift that people miss. It's a tendency, because then we get upset. We're like, is anything mine? And we get frustrated because then we're just sending it all back, return to sender with consciousness, or whatever, whatever works for you. But what we're missing is the gift that you're able to know that. That's really that's what those tools are truly about. It's not just return to sender to so that it stops sort of bothering you, but it's really, you're coming into more and more awareness of like how much you actually do know. Because how could you ask a question? You feel anger and you're like, is that mine? No. Does that feel light? No, it doesn't feel light. Doesn't feel like it's mine. Okay, return to sender with consciousness. So the point isn't really return to sender to consciousness. The point is, wow, awesome that you knew to ask, and awesome that you're starting to develop your muscle and understanding that everything that you think and feel is not A, necessarily yours, or B, do you need to deal with it? You don't need to deal with it. You just be aware that you have that awareness. Just like you can hear sounds, you're not always the one generating those sounds. You can see things, you're not always the one generating those sights. There's things that you see outside of you, they're not you. You're looking at them, but you're just receiving information. Your nose gives you, the sense of smell gives you information, taste gives you information, touch gives you information. So this is just another way that you start to acknowledge of all the information you're receiving. And that's something to be celebrated. But people will, again, tend to get kind of frustrated. I don't want to feel that. I don't want to know that. I don't want to, oh, you mean like, I don't want to be alive. Oh, right? I don't want to actually be alive, be in my body, and be aware. Because if I'm aware, then if I've told myself now, whatever I feel I have to deal with, whatever dog poop is on the sidewalk, I have to pick it up or not, or from that point, awareness gives you choice.
Well, and how much more we're being called from our personal bubble experience to a bigger awareness.
Right.
We're ultimately participating in a bigger way. And so many of us have asked for that in one form or another. How can I be of service? How can I contribute to the expansion of consciousness on the planet? And that variety of sign me up, like put me in the boat, I'm ready.
I want to be part of the solution.
Then when we actually get to that moment of like, okay, great, off you go onto the field, you're like, oh, but my comfort zone, why am I feeling everyone else's stuff? Because that's why you're here to contribute to changing. You're getting the download of what your energy, what your presence, what you know can assist.
Absolutely.
And
you're just being on the planet. Right. Totally. That's the point. You want to know what you're doing here, then you get an awareness of all of those things that are sort of out of whack that you're aware of are out of whack. Because here's the thing, there's things that you are aware of that you can see and sense and feel that it's pretty clear if you take a look around, not everybody is aware that is incongruent with where folks say they want to go in the world, where the kind of world that we say that we want. So if you can spot the incongruency, obviously then the next natural thing that we can come to is like, oh, that is what I am the antidote to, right? By me being here, by me seeing it and me choosing with that awareness. Because if you didn't have the awareness, how could you choose different, right? If you see incongruency, now you can, in your choices that you make within your life, you can choose congruency. When you see incongruency, you say, well, anywhere I happen to be incongruent in my life in ways that I can't see right now, or I am not aware of right now, I'm going to destroy and uncreate that. I'm just going to uncreate anywhere energetically, unconsciously, that I am incongruent, and see how that starts looking in your own life. Because if you can spot it, then you can choose it. If you can't even spot incongruency, how are you ever going to choose? You will never even know the difference. So again, whatever you spot, if you see that it's different to what you would be choosing or want to be choosing, that's actually a point of celebration. That's not a point of nervous breakdown. That's not a point of overwhelm. That's not a point of, oh my God, this is terrible, and start judging the heck out of the world. That's the point of like, right, and I'm going to choose something different. I'm going to choose beyond that. That is the contribution that I can make to the world, is when I see incongruency, I myself, literally in the energy that I choose to be and show up as, I can be the antidote to that. Am I bound to be that? No, you're not bound to be that. It's not your life purpose. You weren't sent here to do that, but it's something that if you choose, it's something that you can contribute to while you are here.
Yeah, and then we choose to offer that energy of congruence, and that's what we get to feel in our body.
Yeah.
The harmony, right? It's just beginning with us and then transmitting that out. And the tendency can be to leave ourselves, to try to go out there to get everyone else to be more congruent and harmonious.
Oops. I guess they call that the bandwagon.
Right, yeah. Everyone, let's get to congruency and harmony. You want peace on the planet? Like, jump on board. And so we energetically are going out there trying to hustle, you know?
Right.
Like, come on, peeps. Like, let's do this thing. And then we're out of the equation. Our bodies start to go into pain because, like, hey, what are you doing? Where's your congruency? Where's your transmission of harmony?
Yeah.
For? And that's the other thing that can feel really intense at this time, is where we have to unplug from where we're feeding other people or choosing for them or trying to do the work for them. Yeah. Like, bring it on home, honey. Start here.
Right.
What's possible for you? Come into congruency. Come into harmony. You know, whatever it is you desire more of in the world, start here. Then you're going to transmit that. Then you'll line up with the people also asking for that. But if we're lining up with people who aren't matching with what we desire to step into, it's often because we're refusing to be it first. We have an expectation that other people show up.
Yes. And you know, again, these visuals keep flying in while you're talking. I can literally see, there we are bumbling along. We see someone being incongruent, whatever that means. It's not so much a judgment, just an observation. It's like they say they want peace in the world, and then they're
not
totally. And so if we want to go external, if we do choose to go external, we'll go over there to try to explain to them what they're doing, to try to help them get back into congruency. But the issue is, the minute that we leave, we become incongruent.
Right.
As soon as you leave your experience to go and like talk to them about their experience and tell them about their experience, then you're now no longer congruent with yours. So it's like, oh, okay. So that makes it a little easier then to understand the massive benefit, the like unbelievable benefit of just minding your own damn business. And I say that with like the utmost respect and love and compassion. It's like, do you know how much easier it becomes when you just go, oh, I see incongruency. Oh, that's a good reminder. Okay, anywhere I may or may not be unconsciously incongruent, I'm just going to destroy and uncreate that. Thanks for that. Thanks for that reminder. We kind of
stepping into more. And then when people are truly asking, it's so different. I used to do that thing of reaching out into other people's field.
Yes.
And it was totally unconscious. And then I'd be like, whoa, I'm like in their head. I'm like in their body.
Yes.
They feel like I'm so close and it feels nice, but what is this creating? And so I had to acknowledge that talent and ability and kind of reset and just say anything that I require to know will actually energetically come to me. So I stay at home energetically, emotionally, physically, spiritually, and then the information comes to me that's relevant for me to assist them. Yeah. So it's like contributing to other people without leaving your home energetically.
Yes, absolutely.
So vacating, because the moment you like jump into their energetic field, you're leaving your home. So you're saying their life is more vital than mine. And what life are you choosing to commit to, yours or someone else's? Someone else's,
yeah. Because if you're not able to live the life you want until everybody else is comfortable or whatever that is, you're going to be here a long time. And haven't we already been recycling through this type of reality for eons? And isn't that what we've come to try to change? Yeah. And then, so why not just be that change? Instead of like trying to change it, we could actually just change it. But the only way that you can actually bring change is to actually just begin. Literally just begin the change. You can't wish for it, or you can't try for it. You can't hope for it, and you can't wait for it. I mean, I suppose you could choose any of those things, but that's not going to do it. We've tried all those things before. That didn't actually do it. So this, like, what the invitation really is to actually, and I know this sounds cliche, and we can thank Gandhi for that, but he was not wrong. Be it. Just go ahead and be it. Don't wait for it. Be exactly what it is that you know to be. You don't have to try to get everybody else to be that, or anybody else to be that. If you know to be something, if you know that that's what the greatest contribution will be, all you have to do is just begin being that. And I love even that word, begin, right? Literally just begin. Because, like, you know, I was actually speaking to someone about this yesterday, thinking of like a big project. You ever have a big daunting project that you've got to do? Like, it just seems like a big job. Could be maybe like a huge thing you've got to do in the garden or in the yard, or maybe a big project with a job that you have, or just anything. Maybe you're moving house and like this, the idea of packing. Oh my God, just anything. Maybe you're making a big change in your body, and like it feels like such a big thing to do. The most amazing thing about energy is how immediately responsive it is. Is like this big, massive project, whatever that is, the moment that you actually begin, it starts transforming just like that. The moment that you begin. And you can tell if you've begun or not. You can always tell if you've begun or not. So anywhere we wouldn't be willing to acknowledge that like whether we know if we've begun or not, would we be willing to destroy and create that? Right?
Yes, totally.
Because we know. How do you know? Because as soon as you've begun, it starts changing. We feel some sort of change. And if we haven't begun, we don't feel any change. We'll just rail against, oh, nothing's changing. I'm really trying. Yep, you are trying, but you're not just beginning. If you begin, it's a whole other thing, because that's an acknowledgement of there is change to be had here. I'm choosing the change, and I'm beginning the change now. If you're trying to change, all you're doing is beginning trying. And then that's very trying. It's very, very trying. But that key word of just like literally beginning. And as soon as you begin, unless you choose to stop, your change is inevitable. It's just absolutely happening. It's already happening because you've begun.
Yeah, so it's like truly putting your energy and attention on it, contributing energy to it, and allowing that level of receiving that informs your next step. So that simultaneity of being and receiving, the contribution, the simultaneity of gifting and receiving. So that whole dance, so it's initiating that and coming out of the old habitual patterns of thinking about change, or fighting for or against change, or defending for or against the change, or I really need to do this, so I'm going to berate myself into initiating it, instead of now we're coming out of all those mental processes and all the old ways of like punishment and reward into just true choice, which is I put my energy attention on this. I'm choosing this project, contributing energy, directing your energy towards it, receiving information from it. And
absolutely. It's so efficient.
So efficient.
Yes. when you were mentioning berating and, oh gosh, like just imagine that when you start berating yourself to change, you're not changing, you're berating.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's all you're doing is berating. Like you're choosing berating. You're not choosing change. You're choosing berating. So now you're upset or angry or stuck or whatever because you chose berating, thinking you were choosing change. You're thinking, I'm going to berate myself into this change, or this is how I'm going to motivate myself. I'll tell myself I'm fat so that it motivates me to lose weight. Well, then you're not choosing to release weight. You're choosing to berate. That's a different energy. So if you're choosing berating over what you truly want, which is maybe to release some body fat, well, that's a different thing. If you want to choose to release body fat, choose to release body fat. If you want to choose to berate, choose to berate. But those are not the same thing. Yeah. And so wherever we have change that we want in our lives, it would be really helpful for us to just take a moment and go, am I actually choosing that? Or am I choosing something that I think is going to create that? Because true creation is just choosing beginning. choosing beginning, almost like in every 10 seconds, right? You just keep choosing and beginning. Like every moment is a beginning of that. You keep choosing it, keep choosing it, keep choosing it. And it starts unfolding and unfolding. And it's just this really graceful, easy process. And I say easy. Yeah, I don't say that with a diminishment of the effort that's put in. The effort is to keep doing it.
Mm-hmm.
The effort is in remembering and continuing to recommit to doing that as you're going along through your day, one day to the next, 1 week to the next, 1 month to the next, for that change that you want to see in the world. Whereas if you're choosing to try to motivate yourself to do that, you might become an expert cheerleader. You might become an expert taskmaster. You might become like the world's best flogger, right? But all of that means you've become really, really good at that, but that has nothing to do with what you said you wanted to see in the world.
Mm-hmm.
You've just become really great, a really great sort of, masochist, basically.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I wonder how much more for all of us this coming week we could really choose to acknowledge where we're directing our attention and energy. And if we're truly directing it on what we desire to have more of, or on what we think we need to do or be over here to get to there, it's just all those places we look to someone else to guide or lead us. And they did that bereavement, and that seemed to lead to change. So now we have to go through all those different steps instead of going, what is the direct path?
Yes. Yeah. And particularly like, what is my direct path?
Yes.
Right? Because somebody else you might see going through those steps, that could be their direct path. It may or may not be, but again, what the heck does that have to do with you anyway, right? What is my direct path? What is the quickest, most efficient, most elegant, easy, joyful way for me to create this change, right? And if you're interested in a path like that, you start asking those questions and then just stay in those questions and it keeps unfolding. Now you're cooking with gas, right? Because can we get there by beating ourselves? Well, we can get somewhere, but will we get where you truly in your heart really feel that you would like to be? So if you let your heart lead with that, again, that magic ingredient that we keep referring to over and over, Christine, it can't be said enough. It really is love. It really is driven from encompassing and embodying the love that you truly be. And we're not at all talking about personal love. What we're really talking about is that divine love, that the love that connects everything. It's beating everybody's heart right now. It's dividing the cells. It's what's allowing you to even be present here, having a conversation, listening to a conversation. And when we start acknowledging that which is life itself, when you start acknowledging the love that sustains everything, then when that starts getting more airtime than all of the other things, then that's when we do move into the ease and the grace and that joy, because the joy, it comes sort of on the heels of that. Once you choose loving energy, once you choose divine love, once you choose to really show that degree of kindness and compassion and love for yourself, then it loosens up the grip on all those other patterns of how we motivated ourselves to do other things, right? And we begin to acknowledge, really truly be able to acknowledge that those things aren't really getting us where we want to go. So we could just uncreate choosing that. We just undo it, just unchoose those things and start to choose what we truly want instead of choosing those things to try to get where we think we want to be. Yeah. So take the shortcut, just choose it right from the get-go. So one thing that also I think, in order to maybe folks who are listening to this conversation who might be like, okay, where do I begin? Like, how can I start doing this? Or like, I've heard this conversation, you guys, that sounds great, super. And then now I'm going to the video is going to be over and then I'm going to go back to what I was doing. So how do I take this and sort of move this into a space where I can apply this in my day-to-day life? Like, how do I get through my day and work this in? So what would you suggest, Christine?
First, that choice to be home. Sometimes I imagine it like, say your aura 3 feet in all directions as a sphere around you, just like, I choose to be home here. Yeah. And what if my life is my prayer? What if what I'm transmitting is my offering, is my energetic vote to the world? So what you'd like to see, begin initiating it here within your field. So just that moment to be like, am I home? Am I here? Where am I? And if you notice that you're bombarded by a lot of stuff going on in the world, going, where am I? Because if you're fully home, the world awareness is more subtle. If you're not home, the world awareness will pound on your head. And I know from personal experience, or just totally being like, unable to function well. And again, we're being called out of the personal bubble. We've chosen this. We've chosen to participate in a bigger way. We just may have not given ourselves the memo that it's not comfortable. It doesn't always feel good. And in the process, we're not going to be like jolly old fellows moving into the Christmas season potentially. However, we can have joy in the acknowledgement of everything that we're being and contributing, and the willingness to just do things different. So to summarize that, be home, acknowledge you, acknowledge your talents and abilities. Mm-hmm. What am I capable of I haven't yet acknowledged? What am I aware of that I haven't yet acknowledged? What's really going on here? I choose to know, like that energy of just that real choice to be home and to be in that question, so that you can cultivate more of your life energy and experience your contribution to the world rather than your energetic read on the world.
Yay. Thank you especially for that very last sentence, being so much more aware of what you are contributing to the world rather than just only being aware of what you're reading and picking up in the world around you.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like being aware of the love that you are offering rather than the love that is missing in the environment.
Yes, because when you see that love is missing, that's your cue.
Yeah.
Right? That's your cue. Not to run around outside of yourself trying to fix it, but to just literally broadcast more love. Just be more love. You see a lack of it, just be more of it. You see a lack of compassion, be more compassionate. You see a lack of understanding, just be the vibration of understanding. Being willing to just show up and be that which you notice is missing in the world, because what it's missing is you. Right? Yeah, very cool. Super. Well, thank you so much for this conversation again this week. It's been so illuminating. And thanks to everybody tuning in. We hope this has been helpful as well. And if you have any comments or anything you want to share about things you've been going through, please do put your comments below, and we'd be happy to hear from you. And if you want to check out a little bit more about what both Christine and I do, you can check out our websites, which you're also going to find below. It's at christineyole.com and judybechard.com if you want to carry on this conversation with either one of us individually. So until next week, enjoy. Hopefully you've gotten some benefit from listening in on the conversation today and feeling a part of that. And we'll see you again to talk about what is going on in the world.
Thank you, everyone.
Take care. Bye-bye.